And CBS's reliance on the Star Trek franchise continues unabated as it endeavours to milk that cash cow to drive even more adoption. Hello my fellow explorers and welcome to the Week in Sci-Fi. It's Imon here and welcome to the series that explores the strange new worlds of science fiction and science fantasy. So make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell so you do not miss out. There's sci-fi news in that nebula. Let's go explore. Engage. Strange new worlds don't come much stranger than this piece of news. So CBS is continuing its massive push to drive viewers to its own streaming platform, CBS All Access. Now Star Trek Discovery is obviously the most prominent result of that initiative. And CBS's reliance on the Star Trek franchise continues unabated as it endeavours to milk that cash cow to drive even more adoption. We have recently had the mini monthly episode Short Treks being released, of which the second episode is imminent. Plus we know that there is a new Star Trek Picard series set after the events of Star Trek Nemesis. But we now have the strangest bit of news to hit in the whole franchise. There is a new Star Trek series. It's Star Trek, Jim, but not as we know it. Called Star Trek Lower Decks, it is an animated series that's clearly named in honour of the great The Next Generation episode Lower Decks that looked at the life of regular non-officer crew aboard the Enterprise D. Although we've seen a cartoon featuring the original series crew, the underrated The Animated Series, this series is a, wait for it, comedy. It's comedy. Yep, you heard that right. Lower Decks will focus on the support crew serving on one of Starfleet's least important ships. Yes, probably like you, my first reaction was... But the series is being created by Rick and Morty head writer Mike Mahan, who apparently is a huge Trek fan. And this one sentence pitch from McMahon is what sold me on the entire idea. I want to do a show about the people who put the yellow cartridge in the food replicators so a banana can come out of the other end. I think that's pure brilliance, and it made me go from to actually being quite interested in seeing how this turns out. But I do wonder if CBS is destined to make the same mistake again with its cash cow. CBS already has a TOS prequel series in Discovery, a post-Nemesis sequel series in the unnamed Picard series, and it has short treks to fill in all the gaps in between as people wait for Disco Season 2. An animated series wasn't a surprise, it had been rumoured. I thought that was where Jean-Luc Picard was going to feature rather than its own series. But Lower Decks, being a comedy animated series, has taken me by surprise. They recently talked about the Picard series being multi-season, but they also said they would be careful not to overlap the two key series. So Discovery and the Picard series would not overlap on air, and they would have gaps in between to build fan anticipation. Yet they already commissioned the Short Treks episodes to kind of cull that fan anticipation, or at least give them something to watch in between, and now they have this animated series which is a comedy. Plus they have a rumoured another series going on which apparently may focus on a Wrath of Khan. Okay, so the last time CBS played this game, they had DS9 airing in tandem with Voyager, and then they had Enterprise come immediately following the end of Voyager, and this constant trek, constant milking of the cow actually helped kill the franchise for what was decades. And it wasn't until JJ came along and gave it the shot in the arm to revive the franchise, so I really hope CBS knows what it is doing. From nearly announced series to cancellations of sorts. I say of sorts because a Boba Fett film was never officially confirmed. Now we knew that James Mangold was supposed to write and direct the feature, and considering the amazing job he did with Logan, which by the way was my film of 2017 along with Blade Runner 2049, so this project would have been something to behold. Unfortunately, as everyone knows, Solo happened, which I believe was a box office failure only because it was released so soon after The Last Jedi, which was riding a tale of negativity, which apparently was largely bot fueled, but who knows. So Disney have in reaction put a lot of projects on hold. and I believe the Fett film originally would have acted to set up the Mandalorian TV series, but now as that project is already well under production, there is no need for the film, which is 100% not happening. And cancellations have not only been happening on the big screen but also on the small screen. It seems that in recent weeks cancellations have been the order of the day. We had the cancellation of Iron Fist, followed quickly by Luke Cage, which have shaken things up in the Netflix Marvel world. Unsurprisingly, this has got Daredevil fans very worried about a potential season 4, which has yet to be greenlit. Nope, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not here to tell you that the series has been cancelled. In fact, Entertainment Weekly talked to the show's showrunner, Eric Olson, about a potential season 4. So this is what he had to say. I can tell you that I'm very hopeful to do a season 4. There has not yet been any kind of an official pickup, but if there is, I'm very hopeful that I will be part of it. So perhaps in this case, no news is good news. And from cancellations we move one step backwards to postponements. Now, an interesting post from Gal Gadot this week about the Wonder Woman 84 release being pushed back by a whole 7 months to June 2020. Now, I assume this is part of a bigger rethink about the entire DC extended universe and about aligning how they move the franchise forward as they perhaps consider rebooting the entire universe. Now, what I found most interesting about this was Gal Gadot's post. She called this move super exciting. So if anybody can actually figure out exactly why this news is super exciting, then please feel free to enlighten me in the comments below. Finally, we have some really exciting news for fans of The Expanse. As you know, following its cancellation of the deal with the Sci-Fi channel, Amazon picked up this superb series, with Jeff Bezos apparently being a huge fan of the show. Now, it's not quite season 4, but season 3 is coming to Amazon Prime in the next few days, which is fantastic news for anyone outside of North America, I believe, who have yet to see it. Certainly I haven't had the privilege living in the UK, so now I know exactly what I'll be watching after I finish season 2 of Star Trek Voyager. Are you hungering for more sci-fi? How about daily snippets of the latest news and updates? If that sounds like something right up your nacelles, then follow me on Instagram, Facebook or Twitter. Hailing frequencies are open, so please chat to me. What do you think about Star Trek Lower Decks? Sad to see the Boba Fett film canned for good? These were the top stories in the strange new worlds of science fiction and science fantasy. Make sure you catch me next week as I'll be back. Peace.